which is the best entry-level DSLR from Canon? The just announced 1200D or the older 1100D? What's up guys, it's the Tech Wally, and in this video I will be comparing the new, recently announced 1200D from Canon, or also the Rebel T5 in the US, against the older, back in 2011 announced 1100D or the Rebel T3. Both of the cameras are made for the very beginner in DSLR photography. They are priced very low, around $400, and I'm not sure, $400, $500. I have links in the description, so check that out. I'm not sure about the price right now, but check the description. Even below the entry-level DSLRs by Nikon, I compared the D3200, which I'm filming on right now, against the D3300. Click here if you haven't seen that video. It's also in the description below. And they are made for the very beginner, as I already mentioned. So they have less features than the one from Nikon, but the Nikons are obviously a bit more expensive. First of all, I will start with the hardware. The 1100D, the older version, I held it in my hand and it feels horrible, feels terrible, the most cheapest plastic ever. So it feels very terrible. I personally don't like it at all. So they improved a lot with the 1200D. In my opinion, it doesn't feel great, but it feels way better and way nicer in my opinion. So I like that. That is one point. Also, it is a bit lighter with 480 grams, the newer version, against I think 495 or something like that, but a bit lighter overall. So that's the hardware. The display has also been improved on. It's now 3 inches against 2.7 inches, both fixed screen without a touch screen. Also the resolution has been bumped up to 460,000 dots. I think before was 200,060 dots. It's not great, but it's an improvement. The dimensions of the camera didn't change much. It just basically stayed the same. The viewfinder is also has stayed the same, and it's very typical for an entry-level DSLR. It has a Pentamera viewfinder with a 95% view coverage and a 0.8 times magnification. The 12.2 megapixels of the Rebel T3 have been bumped up to 18 megapixels with the newer version, and the sensor also got a bit larger. The sensor is still smaller than the standard entry-level sensor size or crop sensor size from Nikon, for example, but it still got larger, which is a good thing. The autofocus points have stayed the same with 9 points. The burst mode has improved a little bit from 2.7 FPS to 3 pictures per second. It's okay for an entry-level DSLR. The image processor has stayed the same. The image quality, however, improved a little bit with the newer version. Also, it's possible to go up to a higher ISO level, 12,800 now versus 6,400 on the older version. And the ISO is also a bit more usable, and there's a little less noise in the pictures. One thing that surprised me very much was the battery life. The older version, the 1100D, had in battery up to 700 shots, which is good. Actually not bad. But the newer version has only 500 shots, so that surprised me a lot. I have no idea why they did that. I'm sure they could have improved the battery life, or at least stayed the same. so I'm not sure. So if you want a high battery life, you shouldn't buy the newer version, because it only lasts for 500 shots, which is not very good. Last but not least is the video mode. The video mode improved a lot. So before, it has shot 720p video with up to 30 frames per second, 30 or 25 frames per second. Now shoots 1080p video, also 30, 25, and also 24 frames per second. It's good for cinematic look, or generally cinema movies are shot in 24 frames per second. One thing that is a huge improvement, I haven't tried it, but from specs wise it's very good. Continuous autofocus or contrast detection in video. I don't know how it works, but if it works good, it's a very good improvement or very good feature for a very inexpensive DSLR camera. Overall, both DSLRs aren't great, but for a very low price point, I think they're worth a shot if you have a low budget or a very beginning photographer. Otherwise, I would go with the 700D if you have a bit more to spend, or a Nikon. I like my D3200 or D3300 for the newer version. But yeah, both are good cameras. I personally wouldn't buy one because it lacks of the features I need, but they're not bad. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below, and also comment if you have any questions concerning the cameras. Also stay tuned for more camera comparisons, for example also Canon versus Nikon, entry-level DSLRs, and do not miss these videos. Subscribe by clicking the button over here to not miss my next videos. See you next time. Bye.